IndyCar releases their 2024 season schedule, Red Bull finds the way back to the top step of the podium, and William Byron scores Rick Hendrick's 300th Cup Series win. All that and more on the Flag to Flag podcast.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Flag to Flag podcast with yours truly, John DeRudris, the motorsport enthusiast, and my fellow host, Mr. Chad Barker. Sir, how are you today?
I'm good. Pretty chill weekend. Had some good racing on, though.
Absolutely.
A lot of exciting news came out for both IndyCar, NASCAR, Formula One. I'm in my last week of my second session at school, which is really fun.
Nice.
So I'm gonna have a few days off, which is nice. But yeah, what were you up to? What have you been up to?
Just kind of doing the same. Not the school part, but chill weekend, watching racing, watching some NFL games. Caught some college football this weekend. Obviously, my Tennessee Vols beat UTSA, so that was a good weekend.
The only football thing I saw this week, because outside of my brother's high school, I don't pay attention to football that much,
right.
And the only thing I saw football related was the absolute landslide that was the Miami Dolphins and
70 to 20.
Denver Broncos. Yes, 70-20. That is wow.
It's the most points scored by a team since 1966. If that tells you anything, they're only the fourth team in NFL history to score 70 plus. So it literally they had the chance to break the record actually, but they decided to kneel the ball. So it was I didn't catch any of the game, but it was a bit.
I didn't either. I just was kind of scrolling through TikTok, and it was like such a big thing. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's rough. And then Taylor Swift was at the Chiefs game.
I did see that stuff.
She was pretty hype when her boyfriend, Mr. Travis Kelce.
Is that confirmed, or is that still rumored?
It's gotta be. She's at the game.
She's at the game. She's next to the guy's mom.
She's chest bumping fans. She's screaming, "Let's go!" Adding another word in the middle of that. And so it's pretty clear that they're a couple. They're a pair. They have to.
Honestly, them kind of keeping it a secret, if you will, it's good for their PR stuff because they've got a lot of eyes on both of them.
Bingo.
You get a lot of eyes on Travis Kelce. You got a lot of eyes on Taylor Swift. So
exactly. It was. It's all over social. Taylor Swift at the game. So, but yeah. So
I remember when there were rumors about Fernando Alonso
and Taylor Swift.
That was funny. That was fun. But yeah,
I love Fernando, but no. Sorry, Fernando. Sorry, Fernando. Let's dive into some things. So IndyCar first, Chad. Let's talk about some news going on in that world. What do you got for me?
So there were two things that kind of happened this week in the world of IndyCar. One not so important, and the other one really important. So the IndyCar banquet was a few days ago, and got to celebrate Alex Palo's second championship, celebrate Chip Ganassi, that's his name, Chip Ganassi's 15th championship in IndyCar, so congratulations to them. But today, as I was going to lunch in the middle of class, I looked at my phone and saw that the 2024 IndyCar schedule has been released. So
finally,
that's 2 out of the 4 schedules that we really look forward to within the big racing. We got Formula One for 2024. We got IndyCar for 2024. All that's left now is SRX, NASCAR, and then, I'm excited to see other series as well. But let's take a look here. I'm looking at the website right now, and here's what we got. So I'm going to go through this. March 10th, Streets of St. Petersburg, kind of starting to be a bit of a tradition now.
Yep.
A few weeks later, the $1 million challenge at the Thermal Club. Now, I don't know if you've seen this track or not, but this is a 3-mile, 19-turn course.
That's wild.
That is quite wild. And it is they are describing it as, and I'm pretty sure you mentioned this last time we talked about this, it is a made-for-TV event.
Yep.
It will have a qualifying session, heat races, and then a race for $1 million.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is an all-star style race or this is just kind of a one-off fun race,
From what I understand, it's supposed to be the all-star event, kind of. That's
okay.
what they're treating it as, because you have a heat of 2 heats of 12, and you're taking the top 6 out of those, and that's your all-star race.
Okay.
So, I mean,
that's fair.
It's interesting, though, because it's in the beginning of the season.
Yes, I did notice that. That was interesting.
It's a weird move. I mean, if you're looking down through the schedule, and we will talk about the schedule and what's coming up, but, I mean, in between, like, Road America and Laguna Seca, that could be an interesting time to put that in there just because it's the middle of the season.
Or what if we had it like, I mean, I don't know how it would fare logistically, but what if it was in between because there's a week break between the Indy Road Course and the Indianapolis 500.
Right.
You know, that's their biggest event of the year. NASCAR has their All-Star race right before one of their biggest events of the year.
Exactly.
The Coke 600. So, I mean, I don't know how that would fare logistically. And speaking of the logistics behind this, look at this time gap here. All right, so March 24th in Southern California, they will be at the Thermal Club.
Yep.
Then there's no racing for a month.
Yeah.
For a month until April 21st, where they head back to California. So these teams are going to have to go from Florida, then to either North Carolina or Indianapolis, wherever they're stationed, or anywhere else in between.
Right.
Then go to Southern California.
Yeah,
then
it
come
doesn't
back.
Make any sense. It doesn't make
then
any
go
sense.
back to it doesn't. You know, it's I don't know if this is them trying to have like a little bit of a West Coast swing type deal.
But why would you have, you know, I mean, if you consider this, the first points paying event is on March 10th. The next points paying event is a month and almost a month and a half later. That just seems like such a big gap. I mean, you're literally going to have 2 races, and then IndyCar is going to be forgotten about for a month, and then they're going to come back and go to the same state. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
With NASCAR, what they do is, you know, they've got at the beginning of the year, this past year, I don't know what it's going to look like this year with Auto Club not being on the schedule. But they have those 3 races in a row. They got Auto Club, I think Vegas and Phoenix, or Phoenix Vegas, but it's 3 races in a row. All the teams stay in Vegas for those 3 weeks,
right?
And then they have separate trucks that transport the cars. Why don't they just swap Laguna Seca and the Million and that, and put it closer together? You know, I feel like that logistically that would make so much more sense.
Also, when you talk about the drivers and breaks in series, I mean, Formula One has a break basically right in the middle, and this just seems like a very long break after really one points-paying week. So you're going to prepare for the entire season on March 10th and then go to a race that doesn't mean anything championship-wise, and then have a month off.
Yeah, and if you don't make the main event at the Thermal Club, you know, so you have a 10, 20-minute qualifying session. I'm not sure how long their qualifying session. And then how long did you say the heat races were? Any idea?
They announced it. I don't know what it is, though.
Let's say 10 laps. I don't know if it is, but let's say 10 laps, all right?
Yeah.
And out of that 20-minute qualifying session, you get 6 laps, all right? You get 16 laps at this massive course.
Yeah.
And it really, one of the big things is just being in the seat consistently, you know? And NASCAR, we see that a lot. You know, we see Kyle Larson all the time, middle of the week, going out to local short tracks.
Right.
And racing. So, but then after that, of course, we go to Long Beach. Then we head down south to Alabama for the Barber Motorsports Park on April 28th. Then comes everyone's favorite month in IndyCar, the month of May.
Bingo.
Got 2 races in May, both of which being at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We got the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course on May 11th, and the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500, which I am still. I'm going to try my best to go to that. I went to it this past year, and I'm a lot closer to it this year. I'm only about 3 hours away from it now compared to 6 hours this past year. Then, come June, we've got 3 races in June. We got the Streets of Detroit, we got Road America, and then we got Laguna Seca. I was interested to see where Laguna Seca was going to end up on this list. You know,
they flip-flopped. That's all they did because, I mean, really? I guess technically, not flip-flopped, I should say. Because Nashville was the beginning of August.
Nashville was the first week in August.
Yeah. So they definitely made some alterations there, adding, you know, Laguna Seca, which is one of my favorite tracks, out basically in the middle of the season, which is interesting because that race is all about attrition. I mean, we saw how this past year, oh my gosh, I mean, literally, carnage. So interesting there. So after Laguna Seca, we hit July, and in July we are going to.
Oh, me.
They're gonna race. They're gonna race in your dorm. A bunch of IndyCars gonna be racing in your
dorm. They're not gonna be at my dorm, but they are gonna be rather close to where I am at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So I am gonna try and hit that event as well. Also, one thing I meant to say earlier, there's only one race at the Indy Road Course this year, which and we've had another track be added, which I'm excited. We'll get to that in a bit, and I'm super excited to see how that fares. But also, Texas is off the schedule.
Yes, which
has been met with mixed opinions.
Yeah, say what you want about Texas, but between NASCAR, between IndyCar, it's turning into a place where people just don't like the racing. I mean, this past weekend, people didn't like the Cup race at Texas because you saw tire issues again.
Yeah, the tire issues, all right, most of those was just the tires not being on there good, all right? I don't think that's true. Obviously, it's an old, worn-out surface. That's obviously going to bring tire wear into effect.
Right.
But tires don't just fly off of cars, all right? When we saw Austin Dillon, all right, we saw three things fly off. We saw the wheel, we saw the tire, and then we saw the wheel nut.
Yeah.
All right? So there was that. But as you were saying.
So, yeah, Texas off. For the first time since 1997 in IndyCar.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if Texas got removed from the Cup Series schedule. I mean, there are a lot of people who don't like it. I mean, a lot of people, and they think another track should have another date. Could it be another mile and a half? Could it be something else? I mean,
could it be a 5/8 short track in the middle of Tennessee? I don't know.
Could be. I mean, that'd be a great replacement.
That'd be a fantastic replacement.
That'd be great. Don't know what the name of the track is. I can't think of it. It's really good.
It's so fun.
It is. So Texas off and Milwaukee Mile on for.
I am Milwaukee Mile on for 2 races. Yes.
2 days. 2 days.
Those 2 races on the 31st of August and the 1st of September, and I am so excited to see that. A 1 mile flat oval, 9 degrees of banking in the corner, and these high-powered Indy cars, all right? This is going to be beautiful.
I'm just curious what the lines are going to look like the racing line, because, it's not like going to, I guess technically they go to Worldwide Tech, which is a flatter track. But
it is on the flatter side.
Not as flat as Milwaukee, and with the downforce that these cars have, I mean, it's going to be pretty cool to watch.
It is, and traditionally with NASCAR, even especially at these mile and a half tracks, we see a lot of multi-lane racing. All right, as the race progresses, different cars migrate to different parts of the track where they feel like their car is best. In IndyCar, it's very traditional to see that the bottom line is the line you want to be at.
Right.
This might cause something new. I don't know. Are we going to be seeing? I think this is going to be the first time that we see some. How do I say this? I feel like trying to find my words here. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to say. You know what? I don't know what I was going to say. I had it, but I didn't know how to word it right. I guess I'm very interested to see how the cars handle.
Yeah.
All right? Because
I agree. I feel like the back end. Hit the mic. I feel like the back end is going to step out. That's my first thought on a flat track like this, because we see that in the Cup Series and even racing, even on iRacing, the back end will step out. Now, I've never raced an IndyCar at Milwaukee, but
that's the first thing I'm doing after this.
Yeah, 100%. You got to 100%.
I really want to see what that's like.
Yeah, so sliding the back end around. I mean, it's not like New Hampshire, because New Hampshire is very similar to Milwaukee in the fact of the layout, but the corners in Milwaukee are much. I'd say wider. The radius isn't as tight.
Yeah, so, it's not as tight of a turn. With New Hampshire, you go and then you slam on the brake, then you get into the corner.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with Milwaukee, you're really kind of working. You're kind of working it. You can play around a lot more with that. Right. You're able to open up your corner a bit more than you are at New Hampshire. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see the different lines, the different ways these play out, but. Getting back to this, before we go there, of course, we have Mid-Ohio. We got the doubleheader, July 13th and 14th at Iowa Speedway. Always a good show. Then we head to the streets of Toronto on July 21st. Now, something interesting I did notice, and let me see if I can find the other one. There are 2 races this year that, I believe it's 2. Yes, there are 2 races this year that are exclusively on Peacock.
Yeah. So we know where this is going to go, Chad. That everybody's talked about this. If you know anything about streaming, it's where the world's going.
Yeah.
You know, all sports, not all sports, but the NFL, they're going to Amazon Prime for Thursday Night Football. You have these races that are going on. I mean, Peacock's, their provider for the entire season, except for, NBC and USA kind of split between. But yeah, Peacock for Milwaukee Race 1, which is weird because they're not broadcasting the Milwaukee race on USA Network for Race 1. I don't know why they're doing that. But yeah, it's just interesting. But I think this is where we're going to go. Are we going to have to pay for watching the racing? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
I feel like, for fans of the NFL, if you're like a really big NFL fan, then yeah, you'll probably pay for the Amazon Prime and just to watch the Thunder, and if you're a fan of a single form of motorsports, whether that be NASCAR, whether that be IndyCar or Formula One, you can pay for those, paying for those services are perfectly fine.
Man, he scurried out of there like he was late for something.
No, he is. Like, I'm sitting here talking, and I'm looking. Okay, for those who aren't watching right now, my roommate just ran out of the room, and as I was sitting here talking, I glanced down at the time, and it's 3:28, or it's 4:28 my time, and I'm like, he has to be back at class at 4:30, and he just ran out of the room, and it's 4:31 right now, and I'm just like, oh, buddy.
He is late.
Yes. But yeah. What was I talking about? That was really funny.
Peacock,
yes.
Streaming services and
yes.
For,
so if you're a fan of if you solely watch NASCAR and then you only watch IndyCar highlights like I did for a while with Formula One as well, then say if NASCAR goes to exclusively streaming service, that's okay. But if you're in the position like me and you, John, which I feel like a lot of people are now, is you love multiple forms of motorsports. You admire those, all right? And I don't want to have to pay for 3 different streaming services.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
That's the part that I don't like. Now NASCAR, half of their season is on NBC, which is owned by Peacock. Peacock owns NBC, my bad. But, all right, 2 birds with 1 stone. If you want any more exclusive content with Formula One, you have to buy their own separate thing.
Right.
And I don't think Fox has a streaming thing yet, but...
Fox, not Fox Sports. I can't remember, but I don't think they have an exclusive one. I may be wrong. I don't know what it is.
I can't remember if they do, but it's like if you're a NASCAR fan, all right. If Fox went to a streaming service exclusively and they went to a streaming service with Peacock, I wouldn't be happy because I don't want to say I only have Peacock, all right. Sweet, I get to watch the playoffs, but I don't get to watch the Daytona 500. I get whatever Fox comes up with. Yep. Great, I can watch the Daytona 500. But I can't watch the championship and the playoffs, So it's. I know this isn't going to happen because there's all sorts of deals that are going on right now. But if everyone would work together, that'd be fantastic. But
oh no, they all want their money.
They all want their own their own piece of the pie. But
exactly.
Yeah, but we have the Grand Prix of Toronto, or Streets of Toronto race, and the first Milwaukee Mile race. Both of which are going to be exclusively on Peacock. Heading into August, we have 3 races. Worldwide Technology Raceway. I'm kind of on the fence if I'm going to go to that one. Mainly just, I've got family in St. Louis. It's mainly just the drive. That's kind of, I'm on the fence with. Portland International Raceway. Always produces good racing. Milwaukee Mile for August 31st and September 2nd. Like we said, that's going to be an interesting race. And after that, hey, we're headed home.
Coming back home.
Coming home.
Coming back home.
and with a completely new layout going right down Broadway.
Dude,
that is going to be interesting.
It's going to be ridiculous. That's all I got to say.
It is. It will. It is something I really hope they bring back to Broadway is burnouts on Broadway.
I hope so. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know why they didn't do it last year.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I would love to see burnouts on Broadway. But
absolutely.
But yeah, so that's super excited. I'm going to be 21 by the time that race comes around. So
there you go.
I'll probably. I was talking to some of my buddies back home, and we were thinking about getting tickets early to get onto the rooftop of one of the honky tonks. And
100%. I mean that's a cool view, anyways.
But yeah, you're on top of like imagine standing on top of Tootsie's, having a drink with your buddies, and then you look over the edge and you got friggin' IndyCars going by. That'd be amazing.
That'd be
just
crazy.
Flying by. That'd be amazing.
Awesome.
But yeah, so that's the big stuff we got with IndyCar. You got anything to add about the schedule? I kind of like it. I think there's a little bit more diversity in it, which I really like.
I'm right there with you. Yep, I think it's a diverse schedule. Obviously, you have a lot. I guess technically one more oval date. Technically,
I think so. Yeah, with the double Milwaukee.
Yeah, because they didn't go Texas twice, did they? Yeah. They only raced at Texas once.
They only raced Texas once.
Yeah, so
they raced at Indy Road Course once.
Yeah,
so it's a 24 race. Yeah, so go ahead.
I mean, so yeah, they're definitely kind of mixing it up between because you have Milwaukee 1, Milwaukee 2. You got Worldwide, so that's 3 ovals. Iowa 1, Iowa 2, that's 5 ovals. Technically, if you consider Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that's 6.
It falls into that category, yes.
Yeah, so it's I think it's a good schedule. I think it's entertaining.
Yeah, and then we have about 12 or 13 road courses. I just counted.
Yeah. I just don't understand the gap at the beginning. I think that's kind of dumb. Honestly,
yeah,
I think it's kind of ridiculous. That's the only issue with the schedule. Is the gap that's literally a month long where nothing's going on after your first race of the season and then the All-Star race. I don't get it. That's my only thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat as you. I feel like that gap is kind of dumb and it's just going to kind of be a bit of a boring part. I mean, obviously we'll have NASCAR, we'll have Formula One, and we'll probably really be talking about SRX at that point. But
bingo.
But yeah, I feel like. I mean, we've had 2 month-long breaks this year with Formula One, and people really didn't like it. They wanted racing, all right? Having 1 week off. What are you smiling about? You're chuckling at something.
I got some insane Talladega news.
Okay.
That's all I got to say. Later.
Okay.
Later.
If it is what I think it is, let me just say, does it involve the Truck Series?
No.
Okay, then it's not what I thought it was.
It involves the Cup Series.
Oh. Okay, well we'll get to that. Let's get on. Let's move on here to Formula One. Formula One was in Suzuka.
Such a cool track, by the way. With the crossover, it's so unique.
Yes. We had as well as Formula One, we had the BMW and Mini Japanese Cup racing. So John, you know how I am with names. So
I was about to say, good luck with these, bro. Good luck.
Bear with me. They had 2 races. First one on Saturday, second one on Sunday. In race 1, 3rd place, Kazuki Ishii. 2nd place, Hironi Mizumoto. 1st place, Sunaku Chukachu.
No, I think that's how you Chukachu.
That might be it.
Yeah, okay.
That might be it.
Race number 1. Moving on to race number 2.
Race number 2, we had a similar 3rd and 2nd place with Kazuki Ishii coming home 3rd. Hironi Mizumoto coming home 2nd, and Koji Yamanishi. That took me a few times. But yes, congratulations to those guys on taking up their win. But let's get into Formula One. So we had a bit of news, some interesting stuff come out. So this first one came out on Friday. It is rumored, I do not know if this is true, I do not know if this is false. It is rumored that after this Formula One season, Alex Albon will be competing in the 24 Hours of Daytona.
That'd be pretty cool. I haven't heard much about that. Obviously, nothing's fully confirmed because that'd be huge news.
Oh, yeah.
I think that'd be incredible for a Formula One driver to. I mean, you saw Alonso do it, but having Albon, who is on the rise a little bit, run the 24 Hours of Daytona. I think that's just gonna be cool to run. I believe he's gonna be trying to run in the GTP class, so that'll be cool. I mean, it'd be cool to watch.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Also coming out on Friday, AlphaTauri revealed their 2024 drivers, and it is Yuki Tsunoda and the Honey Badger, Daniel Ricciardo is going to be back.
Danny Rick.
Personally, I am very happy. I've always been a Danny Rick fan.
Yep.
But with those 2 seats being filled, there was only one more open seat on the Formula One grid. And the person in that seat right now did not do good for himself this week.
It's looking grim. That's all I got to say.
It is. There's rumors going around. I mean, I'd love to see where Logan Sargent. If Logan Sargent doesn't go, I'd love to see him end up in IndyCar, maybe a GT car racing, maybe IMSA, maybe WEC. All right, but there really is no telling because it's
not good.
You can't hide from it anymore. I love having an American driver out there, but it's just not putting up the numbers that he would need.
Right. So I mean, we'll see because AlphaTauri did confirm that Liam Lawson will be their reserve for 2024. So I don't know if there's going to be another deal that works out, maybe between AlphaTauri and Williams, but I don't think Liam Lawson would go to a Williams car. I mean, I think it definitely...
That boils back down to Mercedes versus Red Bull.
Right. I mean, this definitely does go to the question, who's actually going to fill the seat? Are they going to give Sargent one more year? Because they can run well. I mean, Albon's proved that.
Yeah.
It's just... It sucks because we want the American to do well.
Yeah.
But there are so many other drivers that would kill to have that seat, even if it's a Williams. I mean, because they've shown a lot of good progression this year. I think anybody ever could even imagine. So it's rough. It's rough for Sargent. I hate it for him, but
if I got the phone call saying, "Hey, you're going to Formula One, but you're going to be in a Williams," I don't care what I'm in.
I'm dropping everything and going. 100%.
I'll do it.
100%.
But yeah, it is rough seeing an American like that because I'm very much cheering for the hometown person. Next year, once again, still astonishes me how I'm going to be cheering for a Ford next year in NASCAR. It already feels weird cheering for a Penske in IndyCar, and with Joseph Newgarden and Josh Berry with NASCAR, both of which being born in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Right.
And then we have Logan Sargent, which is the only American in Formula One from I think just outside of Miami. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you want him to do well, but at the end of the day, this is a business, and yeah, but yeah, keeping going down the list, Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri lead the field to the 53-lap race around Suzuka. On the start, Alex Albon made contact with an Alfa Romeo, bringing out the safety car so the track could be cleaned. So that was right at the start. You stayed up and watched this race.
I did.
Which, that was midnight for you.
It was midnight for me, and
it was 1 a.m. for me. I was not doing that.
Yeah, so it was quite the race. I mean, it was definitely interesting to see how fast McLaren was. They have something going on for sure, and definitely within the confidence that they have for their drivers going into next year, Lando Norris is probably in such a good spot right now where he knows he can, I don't want to say finish in the podium every race, but they're kind of getting to that, not the same level as what I would think they are thinking, but I think definitely they can finish up there consistently. Yeah. McLaren has huge upgrades. It showed this past week, but this race produced a lot of retirements. Sergio Perez was out after multiple wing damage wing damage issues, and you saw a lot of drivers just struggling throughout the entire race. The beginning of the race, there was a safety car on lap 1, which was rough. You saw Valtteri get spun. Multiple drivers get spun. So it was just a messy race, but Suzuka produces that. Suzuka is a very small track when it comes to the width. So it's almost, I don't say a Monaco-style track, but there's only really a few passing zones. And if you can't pass in those zones, you're going to have to wait another lap or wait for the driver in front of you to make a mistake. So it was an interesting race strategy-wise. You saw George Russell and Hamilton play some different strategy plays. So, it was a great race. Obviously, Max won, but it shows you really how much closer the battle is for the best of the rest. I mean, McLaren, I think, is winning that battle right now. Just with what we've seen recently. Now, Ferrari had a good 2 weeks, but this race didn't fare well for them. But really quick, talking about, Formula, or talking about the
Real
Constructors
quick.
Champ. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say this. Any turn is a passing zone if you're brave enough.
That's
all I
point.
wanted to say.
That's a good
all
point.
I wanted to say. But
You may
yes,
wreck
going
yourself,
on
but it's a good point. Yeah.
to the Constructors Championship.
Yeah, the Constructors Championship, it was at risk that Red Bull wasn't going to win it this week because of where Sergio was, but they prevailed, winning their 6th Constructors Championship in a row, and it shows that, they are still such a complete team that it's going to prove, year in and year out that Red Bull is still obviously the overall even team to beat. Even with Sergio Perez having his issues this race, they still secured that Constructors Championship. And right now, looking at the Drivers' Championship, it's still not yet Max's championship. He's still not confirmed. They thought they could possibly win it this week.
I did
didn't
the math.
happen. So talk to me about the math. What does he need?
So Sergio Perez, he needs to win so Max Verstappen is currently at 400 points. All right? If Max Verstappen does not finish within the top 10 for the remaining races of the year and not finish in the top 8 during the sprint races, and Sergio Perez wins every sprint race and at every race gets the fastest lap and wins the race, and if he does that all the way through Abu Dhabi, he will have 401 points.
That's wild. Yeah, I think I saw something where if Max wins the next sprint race, he'll win the championship.
I think that's what it is.
Which is just wild to think about, that a driver is going to win a championship in a sprint race.
Yeah,
So, but it just proves that what kind of stranglehold Red Bull has on F1. So walk me through. We can go through the entire race if you want to, but really it was the Max Verstappen show. I mean, it was week in and week out. It's been that way.
I thought it was really interesting seeing the Mercedes drivers go at it. It reminded me of Nico Hülkenberg and Lewis Hamilton in 2016. Mm-hmm. But George Russell even said, where I had this written down, George Russell became increasingly frustrated that he had to battle his teammates, so much so that he went on to the radio and said, "Who do we want to fight here? Each other or others?"
Right.
He was. Yeah. I don't know. We didn't hear much from Lewis Hamilton in that race, and I don't know what kind of was going on there. I don't know if he just was. I don't know if what I think has happened is Lewis Hamilton thought he was faster, so he's trying to get ahead of Russell and go, and Russell thinks he's faster, so he's trying to get ahead of Hamilton and go. So I don't, but I mean, it ended up hurting them. They weren't working as a team, which, to be honest, is very rare for Mercedes. Even when Mercedes told George Russell to move out of the way, he did it reluctantly.
Yeah.
So that was interesting and strange to see out of Mercedes, them not being a team. So that I found really interesting. Yeah, but it was a Max Verstappen show. Max Verstappen went on to win the Japanese Grand Prix, and Red Bull becomes the 2023 Formula One Constructors Champions. Their 6 Constructors Championships, second in 2 years, second one in a row. Also on the podium was the McLarens of Lando Norris, and second in Oscar Piastri, and his best Formula One finish to date with a third-place finish. And here's something interesting I think you're going to think is cool.
Okay.
After his second-place finish, Lando Norris beats a rather unwanted record of having the most points without a win. with 5 third-place finishes and 5 second-place finishes, as well as many other points-paying finishes, Lando Norris has had a career total of 534 points, yet with 0 wins. The driver he beat out of the record, Nico Hülkenberg.
Wow.
So, I guess the big thing to talk about right now is Qatar. You know, we haven't been there since 2021. And I'm going to be interested to see the way that this new car does on it. But yeah, you know, I think they said it might be a bit of a different configuration. I don't think so. I think I might have just made that up. But yeah, you know, it's always going to be interesting when you don't go to a track for a little while, especially with this new car. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the big things I'm interested in.
Yeah, me too, and we'll see. I don't even know, you know, if we're talking about predictions, the easy answer is to say Red Bull. But since it's a new car, a track they haven't been to in a few years, it could kind of produce a big question mark when it comes to how the cars handle. Now, if I had to put my bet on anybody to make the right adjustments, it would be Red Bull. Now, if I'm going off a pure strategy play, shoot, I mean, look at Mercedes and look at Ferrari. I think those are the 2 wild cards that could just pull some crazy strategy call.
Okay, yeah, for like a weird strategy call, yes, Ferrari.
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's so. I mean, I think McLaren. My intuitions is telling me McLaren could have a really good day here. Obviously, in 2 weeks, the race is on October 8th. So, you know, we have a week off before they get to that race. But looking back at the 2021 race.
My bad, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I just now realized that too. But, I mean, looking back at the previous race, the 2021 results, Hamilton was out front with Verstappen and Alonso. That is the podium. So a Mercedes, Red Bull, and technically wasn't Aston Martin.
Wasn't Aston Martin then, it was Alpine.
Alpine, yep. So, we'll see.
I remember a big issue with it was the left fronts. Left fronts just kept going down.
Exactly.
And they were saying because there's a lot of right hand turns there, you know, which puts a lot of stress when you're going around, you know, a right hand turn, whatever way you're going around the turn, you put a lot of stress on the opposite side of your car.
Bingo.
You know, when you're going into the corner, the most amount of stress is on the left front. All right, when you're back on the throttle in a right hand turn, the most amount of stress is in your left rear. You know, and same if you're going the other way, you know, going into the corner. Yeah, you know, it's that's one of the things you pick up, and that was something teams weren't necessarily prepared for, so I would be interested to see how these new 18-inch wheels handle that. You know, I wonder if they took it into consideration, maybe did some repaving or anything. But yeah, so I feel like that's going to be interesting to see all of that. But yeah, you know, I would say championship predictions, but I mean, hey, I've learned to say this, even if you are 99.9% sure of the outcome, anything can happen in racing. Anything can happen in racing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's definitely going to be something to look out for. But yeah, I mean, do you have really anything else to add? Formula One is green flag, carnage at the start, bit of bumping and battering. Max Verstappen by 20 seconds.
Yep, I mean it's a typical Formula One race. Definitely some interesting strategy calls. Oscar Piastri had almost a very smart strategy call. He did come down pit road. It was smart, but it could have been executed a little bit better depending on when the caution came out. But they had a virtual safety car, and he came down pit road before the virtual safety car came out, which he did leverage a little bit of the virtual safety car in his favor. So that was a good strategy play for McLaren. Other than that, though, pretty status quo with how we've seen this season go. You typically have a Red Bull out front and everybody chasing them. So that's where we stand right now going into Qatar on October 8th. But let's move on to our local racing report. Chad, where are we this week?
We are in Travelers Rest, South Carolina at Travelers Rest Speedway.
Awesome.
We had the Extreme 4 Series, as well as the Crown Vics, the Pure Stocks, the Thunder Bombers, the Vintages, the Renegade Sportsman, and the GM Performance 602 late models. So, let's dive right into this. Here's your top 3 from all of them. In the Extreme 4, third place, number 48, Caden Presnell. Second place, number 22, Trent Blackwell. First place in the Extreme 4 Series, 56, Ricky Hill. For the Crown Vics, third place, number 5, Peter Roach. Second place, 19, Brian Carswell. And picking up your Crown Vic feature win, number 14. What are you doing?
I'm just commenting or I'm just highlighting the words.
Okay, okay.
Did I mess you up there? Sorry.
A little bit. I was like, what is he doing? And picking up your Crown Vic feature win, number 14, Jason Ledford. In the Pure Stock Division, third place, 0, Bradley Williams. And looks like I forgot to pick up the numbers on these guys. But second place, Dustin Morris. And picking up your win in the Pure Stock Division, Mickey Brock. In the Thunder Bombers division, third place, 47H, Madison Hoots. Second place, 88, Dustin Morris. And picking up your Thunder Bomber feature win, 47, Tyler Geese. Goose? In your Vintage division, third place, didn't pick up the number on this one, Johnny Starkey. Second place, number 28C, Scott Cannon. And number 71, Sean Mangum. For your Renegade Sportsman, in third place, B4 Brandon Satterfield, 72 Donnie Atkins, and number 11S Timmy Smith. For your GM Performance 602 late models, you have number 12 Michael Smith, second place 11 David Smith, and picking up your GM Performance 602 late model feature win, in first place 52 Luke Cooper. If you would like your local short track shouted out on the Flag to Flag podcast, email flagtoflag10@gmail.com or hit us up on any of our social media platforms. Listen out to those at the end of the episode. On to NASCAR. So, NASCAR Youth Series was off, ARCA was off, Truck Series was off, but we had a lot of news that us Tennessee boys, well, really in general, would find interesting in there. But for the Xfinity Series, Stage 1 and Stage 2 went to Justin Allgaier, but John Hunter Nemechek came home with the win in the second race in the round of 12 for the Xfinity Series. So, shaken up, Allgaier and Nemechek locked in to the next round. And, yeah,
there we go. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek is putting his name out there to have a strong progression and momentum going into the Cup Series next year. I mean, if he wins this championship, I think that's going to be huge for that team, specifically with Legacy, with the speed that they've had. I mean, Legacy Motor Club, the last 4 weeks, the speed has been incredible. Yeah. So with John Hunter Nemechek, a driver who's not afraid to put it out on the line, winning an Xfinity championship, coming over to Cup, I mean, could we see, I would say a star being born, because John Hunter Nemechek is already a great driver. But I think we could see something really cool start to form with him winning the Xfinity Series championship, then moving on to the 42 car next year. So yeah, there we go. So moving on, what else we got?
So in the Cup Series, we had some news coming out. On Tuesday, it was announced that Connor Hall was crowned the 2023 NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series Division 1 champion. And if you don't know what that is, it's something that a lot of local short tracks around the country participate in, mainly in the Carolinas and on the Southeast. But what you do is you race. I think it's mainly in the late model divisions. I'm pretty sure that I think there's some modified divisions and some stock divisions that participate as well. But there's multiple divisions. There's Division 3, Division 2, and Division 1. Division 1 obviously being the highest. And you race wherever you want to race all the way around the country, and whoever's got the most points at the end of the year takes it. Connor Hall took it this year, so congratulations to him. Also coming out on Tuesday, Rackley War made the decision to cut ties with Matt DiBenedetto for the final 3 races of the 2023 season. Matt DiBenedetto went on to tweet the following statement: "No words could express the disappointment I'm feeling right now, and also not being able to finish the season out. I really want to thank my fans for always being there for me. It means the world to me, and I'll always be there for you. Thank you to NASCAR and Craftsman for such an awesome series that I love competing in with all my heart. Working on 2024, and will update you all soon." And no update so far. Kind of piggybacking off of that, coming in Monday, today, about 2.5 hours ago, it was released that Rackley War announced that Chandler Smith will drive the 25 truck at Talladega. Now, I find this a bit interesting. Because if you look at some of the stats, yes, out of all the drivers they've had, Truck Series-wise, Chandler Smith is their best one. In his 4 years in the Truck Series, he got 5 wins. He now has a full-time Xfinity Series ride.
Right.
All right, but if we look at some of these other drivers who had, Matt DiBenedetto, he wasn't a liability, and with a small team like Rackley, you can't gamble on rookies or something like that. You need stability. Right. And so some of the other racers they've had, Josh Berry ran 8 races with the team with an average finish of 18.75. Timothy Peters ran 10 races with the team, had an average finish of 25.8. Clay Greenfield, who, quick side note, if you ever meet Clay Greenfield or his family, they are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. They live in Nashville, and they race at Music City Quarter Midgets, which I have been there several times. Some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. But he had an average finish of 23.7 in his 26 races. In 43 races that Matt DiBenedetto raced, he had an average finish of 15.7. That's not horrible.
No.
All right, for that kind of team.
Yeah.
All right, for a team that I haven't been there, but I've driven past their warehouse in Centerville, Tennessee. All right, it's literally just a warehouse behind Curtis Sutton's house, who owns Rackley War, or who owns Rackley Roofing. Willie Allen owns War Racing Shocks, and then they kind of came together to form this team. And but yeah, Chandler Smith, yes, that is a good decision to go. He's got 5 wins in 4 years, but it's going to be interesting to see who they have come on next year. I mean, I'm not in the position to tell someone how to make business decisions. I am nowhere near in that position. I think I have like 4 cents in my bank account right now, but I've got work after this. But
there we go.
But yeah, it's. I don't know. I love Matt DiBenedetto. I love his down-to-earth, humble personality. Obviously, I love Rackley War Racing, being from Tennessee. And it just, I don't know, it frustrates me. But, I mean, here's what really frustrates me is that they booted him out before Talladega.
Which
the only win that team has is at Talladega with Matt DiBenedetto.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Yeah.
And then you also see they've got some pretty decent finishes at Homestead and at Phoenix, some of their best tracks. All right. I don't know.
You shake your head. You're just like, what's going on? Especially booting him just saying, it's different just saying, okay, we're going to cut ties with you at the end of the season, and we're going to cut ties, and you actually can't race in the car, so bye. So I'm just kind of curious, what is there something else? I mean, because that's a very harsh decision to make, saying,
well, it was already decided. Well, it was already known that Matt DiBenedetto wasn't going to return to the seat in 2024.
Exactly.
And from what I kind of heard through the grapevine is that after he got knocked out of the championship, I don't know if this is true or not, but it was almost like they kind of stopped trying, which is very rare to see. Even if drivers are knocked out of the playoffs in NASCAR, they're still fighting for wins, all right?
Bingo.
Even if the World Drivers' Championship in Formula One is decided before the last race, they're still fighting for it to the very end, But I don't know, just to kick the guy out with 3 races left. I mean, I understand Talladega is a bit of a wild card race and a bit of it's a money. That's Talladega and Daytona are the ones that team owners fear the most. But it goes into that stuff. I have a prediction of who might be in the seat next year.
Okay.
I doubt it. I've raced against this person, and he bears the same last name as the team owner. Dawson Sutton, who currently races in the Cars Pro Late Model Series, races at National Fairgrounds, races all over, a lot in the the Carolinas and Georgia, races all over kind of the Southeast area.
Cool.
It's a possibility, for him. I've only, I don't think I've seen him in a super late model yet. If he has been, it's been very rare, and then there's also, so there's that super late model step, and then you also have the ARCA step. So that's just kind of prediction. Right. He might do a few tests for him, but yeah, I've raced against Dawson in Legend Cars. Me and him were both in the semi-pro division. I raced against him in Florida. I raced against him in Nashville. So yeah, he's a good kid, but kind of a Ty Gibbs situation.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, but let's get on to the race. Some really exciting news before we actually get into the race itself. I don't know if you heard about this, John. On Thursday, NASCAR announced that the 2024 Clash at the Coliseum on February 4th at the LA Coliseum will feature the stars of not just the NASCAR Cup Series, but also the stars of the NASCAR Mexico Series.
That's going to be pretty cool.
Only drivers that meet certain qualifications will be able to participate. Current eligible drivers are Ruben Garcia Jr., Salvador de Alba, German Cuergo, Andreas Perez de Lara, Max Gutierrez, Alex de Alba, Ruben Rovello. Yeah, and Ruben Rovello. So those are the current drivers that are eligible for that. But yeah, I feel like that's going to be really interesting. It's another show there, I've always thought it'd be cool to have some support races there, I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of people would love just a pure stock race out there. All right, just a bunch of guys in old style cars just beating and banging, all right? But even, what if we have a Cars Tour race or an ASA Tour race? I understand that a lot of those races and a lot of those teams
SRX.
are based out of the Southeast. SRX, well, that's in February. That's kind of like a summer season. I don't know, but I was talking about my buddies. It's a quarter-mile track. I would love to see legend cars out there. That would be so much fun.
iRacing question mark?
Oh, I've done it on iRacing. I've done it on
have
iRacing. It's fun, and my best friend, he told me, he said, because he's planning on running a few races next year in the legend cars. He said if they ever do that, I will come out of legend car retirement and we will drive to California and race that race. So
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, so that is something really exciting. I don't know if it's going to be a support race series. I don't know if it's going to be a points paying race for the NASCAR Mexico Series, but be interesting. This might be their Daytona 500. But who knows? We never really know. But getting on to the race, this was the hottest NASCAR race at Texas ever. I think outside it was 101 degrees. I think the track temp was about 124 degrees, and I think at one point it was 134 degrees inside of Kevin Harvick's car.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
That is some pretty hot temperatures.
That's pretty hot.
Yeah.
You could cook a Hunt Brothers pizza in that car.
I swear to God.
What? I was thinking Hot Pocket, but I was like, oh, Harvick sponsored by a pizza company. What? Hunt Brothers.
Yeah, but good thing he also had Mobile One in his engine to keep it cool. Anyway.
Bingo. See? It's easy.
Bubba Wallace and Chris Buescher led the field to green for 267 laps. BJ McLeod's cool suit failed very early in the race. Why are you laughing at that?
Because remember what we talked about last week with McLeod?
As soon as I wrote that down, I thought about that.
I was like, something's going to happen. It sucks because, that having a cool suit fail, is one thing. But Ricky Stenhouse Jr. not having a cool suit at all seems.
He didn't have one?
No.
Why not?
He didn't. He wanted to get through the race himself through his physical ability. I believe that's what they said.
Okay.
I'm not saying a word about it. That's what I heard. So
I know that there have been some races where I'd have a race, and usually whenever I go to the races, I go out on track, come off, and I just take the top part of my suit off. I remember there are some races where I've had to take everything off and then go into the truck and cool down. Right. I've been in some hot races, but I don't think I've been in anything like this. That hot
that's
for
wild.
that long
Yeah,
of time.
That's wild.
But shortly before lap 40, green flag pit stop started. But 2 laps, about 2-ish laps after green flag pit stops, Austin Dillon's right rear tire came off entering turn 3, like we talked about earlier. And, yes, we all thought it was going to be a bit of a classic. Sorry. We thought it was going to be a bit of a classic Texas tire failure. But then looking upon the replay, we see the nut fall off.
Right.
All right?
Yep.
And we see that once every couple races in NASCAR. It's not that uncommon, but they do a really good job at trying to make sure it doesn't happen. I don't know what the heck happened in this race. I think we had, 3?
Yeah, multiple.
Multiple lug nuts come off. Back green on lap 49 with Wallace and Chastain. Chastain had a pretty decent performance out here this week.
Oh, yeah.
Caution quickly back out as they went into turn 1. Alex Bowman spins in the middle of being 3 wide. Collects Eric Almirola. Back green on lap 55 with Chastain and Wallace leading again. Once again, caution quickly back out. Todd Gittlein loses a wheel on the back stretch. Another one. I mean, like...
Yeah, something's gotta... I don't know if it's odd to see this happen multiple times, because typically what that means is just the lug nut's not tight. But could it be the pressure that these tires are under? Could it be the lug nut's not strong enough when it secures itself? Could it be something? Could it be the
I heard one thing where they thought it was the heat.
That's what I like. Is there something that's like not built for this kind of temperature and pressure? Because when you mix heat and pressure together, these things can only last so long.
Yeah,
and they are, machines.
I will say this: it wasn't like it was the 3 team every single pit stop they had.
Right.
They had stuff going. No, it was multiple teams, and like I said earlier, we see this every 10 races, maybe a lug nut fall off the car, but we never see 2 teams in a row do it.
Yeah.
All right, and it kind of says the same thing here. Yes, we had like 3 fall off this race, but it was 3 different teams. So. That's kind of how that went down. Back green on lap 59 with Wallace and Chastain still leading. Caution on lap 74 after Kyle Busch gets loose in turn 1, hits the outside wall, proceeds to put it in reverse.
Oh, he did this last time. He did this last year. He put it in reverse. I
guess that's kind of how he is. I mean...
It's entertaining. He pulled a Lightning McQueen, so...
Mater.
Lightning McQueen.
Okay, McQueen did it in the race, but do you know where he learned it from?
Yeah, of course.
He learned it from Mater.
Exactly. I'm saying McQueen did it in the race. So, I mean, McQueen, yes. But
yeah.
another, we talked about this in the previous podcast. Kyle Busch always seems to have issues. It's either 1 week on, 1 week off, but it's always him spinning backwards into the wall. I mean, it's happened 5, 6, 7 times this year. I mean, it's not good.
Now,
something's going on with that team. That's just weird.
That is true, but I will say this: I feel like we can't go this far without acknowledging NASCAR and those wrecks that we saw this week. All right, a year ago, crashes like that sent a driver to a concussion, and then another crash like that at Pocono sent one driver into retirement.
Yeah, and I mean, one wreck, we'll probably obviously get to it, but the most severe wreck was Larson. I mean, Larson smacked the wall with the rear end, and I mean, spun around like a top. I mean, and it's rough, but with the way that, I don't know if you've seen the rear ends of how they've built these cars. Originally, they were straight pillars on the bottom that connects basically the rear of the car to the middle of the car. Now there's a bend in them, so when they get hit, when they slide into the wall in the rear end, it basically compresses to where the driver's not taking in as much of that energy. The car is. You
see that a lot. The part you're referring to is the rear clip, and you see that a lot. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's really kind of designed to do. You see it. You will always see it in the front of these race cars, because the way it does is it's designed to not necessarily crumple like this, crumple like into each other. It's designed to crumple down. Crumple down. The reason that's in the front is because, I'll use legend cars for an example, because the only thing separating your feet from the motor is a piece of sheet metal. And you have a head-on collision into the wall at a good speed, if it's just straight bar, it's going to go right back into your feet, and that's not going to be comfortable. All right, but the way these cars are designed, it goes straight down, and you see that in NASCAR, you see that in late models, you see that in all sorts of forms of racing, all right? With Formula 1 and IndyCar, it's different, where the wing is more or less kind of used as that crush panel. But yes, I did want to bring that up and acknowledge NASCAR for, I don't think we've had any severe injuries this year. Not compared to last year, at least. Maybe a few bumps and bruises, but nothing too crazy. Getting back to it. Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs make contact on pit road, damaging both cars. You see what I accidentally wrote there?
You call him Danny one week, you call him Derby this week. Well, I don't know what you're.
I'm watching the race live and I'm typing this stuff down, and I only have one monitor, so I have to go in between. So I'm typing fast. Ty Gibbs had to actually retire from the race after that happened, unfortunately.
What was Hamlin thinking? He just pulls out of his box. Like his crew should have been like, "Hey, man, your car's here." Like, I don't know.
like his spotter should be like, "All right, going out, gonna have cars on your outside," But I don't know.
It was so silly because he wrecked his own teammate. I mean, it was just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Ty Gibbs wasn't happy either. I don't know if you saw the interview. Ty Gibbs wasn't pleased. So.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the interview to the fullest, but back green with 1 to go in stage 1, Chris Buescher and Tyler Reddick leading. Tyler Reddick wins stage 1. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, we've got Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick up, but we got 2311 up front.
Bingo.
We might see something out of 2311 here, And but yeah, so at that point, I'm kind of thinking back. Let's see here. Martin Truex spins after the start finish line. Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher start on the front row for stage 2. Lap 55, caution comes out. Corey LaJoie had a tire go down in turn 2. So, tires going down at Texas, not the biggest surprise in the world. But yeah, that's kind of the norm for there. Back green on lap 199, Wallace and Ryan Blaney leading. So now I'm thinking, all right, our predictions are going to come true with Ryan Blaney. All right. Zane Smith given a penalty for speeding on pit road. With 23 to go in stage 2, Larson passes Wallace for the lead. Kyle Larson wins stage 2.
Which is big. Very important.
Yes.
Very important. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Eric Jones and Kyle Larson lead the field to green in stage 2. Very happy to see Eric Jones back up front. Justin Haley gets a penalty on pit road, but I will say this, kind of sidebar, Justin Haley, I believe he is either engaged or he is fixing to get married soon, and the story behind it, I don't know if you listened to the episode of the Dale Jr. Download yet,
no,
but I'll spoil it for you, but basically, this girl, she went to a NASCAR race and she placed a bet, and she wanted to place a bet on someone. And she decided to place a bet on a guy named Justin Haley because his last name was the same as her first name. And I'll get to that. I know what you're thinking. I'll get to that. Funny enough, that was the same Daytona race that Justin Haley won the rain-shortened race. And so she was happy. And then I think they ended up meeting up somehow. They started talking. But long story short, this girl's name after they get married is going to be, and he talked about this, and he says that she is perfectly fine with this. Her name is going to be Haley.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
I'm almost certain that's what it's going to be.
That is just not even remotely okay. Haley.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
It doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound great. I would have made a little bit more sense if she would have kept her maiden name. Whatever Haley blank, whatever Haley,
Yeah.
Mottinger, Haley Mottinger, Haley. Okay, that sounds even worse. So
it's a Haley sandwich.
Haley.
And he said she's already kind of started writing, some of her checks to, pay bills and stuff as Haley, making reservations as Haley and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a pretty big meme whenever that becomes official, but
that's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
But okay, well there you go. Justin Haley is dating or getting married to Haley.
Yeah. So
is it spelled the same way?
I don't know. That would be hilarious if it's spelled. Okay.
Hold up. I got to look this up right now because this is going to be just. It is. It's spelled the H-A-L-E-Y.
Are you serious?
It's Haley. Oh no.
Oh
Hold
my
on.
God.
Where are you in the notes? Hold on. Where are you?
I'm at Justin Haley. Haley. Oh my God! I've said Haley so much it doesn't make sense anymore.
Haley, yeah. It's when you start to say words, you know what I'm talking about multiple times, and you're starting.
Yes.
Like, what does Haley?
Yes. Okay.
It sounds weird.
We're getting off topic, but I just wanted to share that because he was on the Dale Jr. Download, and I thought that was hilarious. They also on the Dale Jr. Download, I will say, they also talk about him switching from college to Rick Ware Racing and his kind of thoughts and opinions on that and why he did it.
Cool.
So yeah, definitely go listen to that episode of the Dale Jr. Download. Totally not sponsored. Come on, Dirty Mo. Daniel Suarez spins trying to pit.
Wait, did you just plug another podcast and our podcast?
I said but I asked.
What are you doing?
I asked to. I'm giving credit where credit's due. That's where I got that from. I'm giving credit to where I got my information from.
Okay, fair. I agree with that. Applaud you. Okay.
Daniel Suarez spins trying to pit and brings out the caution. Daniel Suarez had to get a backup rear tire changer after his original one suffered cramps.
Yep.
And had to go to the infield care center. Ryan Blaney gets a pit road speeding penalty. Larson and Jones lead with 32 to go. J.J. Yeley spins exiting turn 2 with 24 to go. Larson and Wallace lead on with 20 to go. Caution comes out after Larson makes, I didn't get a good views. In the notes, I put in parentheses contact. I don't know if they did. They were very close. You don't think so?
No contact. No
contact.
Being made.
Okay.
It was... it's just the air when car. We've seen this in multiple tracks. When a car gets underneath another car and it's at the right. I mean, it has to be just at the right angle. You're about. I mean, not even. I wouldn't say halfway alongside the driver in front to your right, but you're almost like 2/3 back. Your front right is right up against their left rear. It just spins the car around. The air just doesn't know what to do, and we saw Larson just absolutely ruin his race.
Yeah.
Not his fault, just the air. But the reason why I said
it was a racing incident.
Bingo. And the reason why I said the stage win was so important is because he is only 2 points to the good in the playoffs right now.
No, he's not.
Yeah, 2 points to the good. Right behind him is Bubba Wallace, 2 points to the bad. So that stage win, it literally flip-flops Larson and Bubba Wallace.
Are we going to see Kyle Larson like we saw last year in a must-win situation? Yeah.
Yes and no, but I have thoughts going into this weekend. That's all I'm going to say. We'll talk about predictions for Talladega
here in a bit.
Thoughts. Yep.
Let's see here. That brings out the caution with 6 laps to go. Or no, wait, no. We went back green with William Byron and Wallace leading. Big crash involving multiple playoff drivers, including Ryan Blaney.
Yep.
Back to green with lap 6 to go. Wallace and Briscoe lead. After an exciting 6-lap finish, William Byron wins and gives Rick Hendrick his 300th Cup Series win. Now, obviously, I knew you were happy. I was happy. I'm always happy when I see the 24 in victory lane. But I did notice something. As soon as Byron passed Bubba Wallace, he just fell out of the seat.
Wallace did?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Talk about that a little bit more.
He that's a term we use in racing where we say don't fall out of the seat, where it means
give up, basically?
I don't like using that word, but I don't want to, but kind of, he almost just started like fading and falling back. You even heard the crew chief on the radio say, don't stop now. Come on, let's keep going. And honestly, that obviously it was a good finish. Bubba Wallace is in a much better place than he was coming into this race, but now he's only 3 points to the good. He's got Talladega, where he is kind of on the docket. He is one to look at.
2 points to the bad. 2 points to the bad.
He's 2 points to the bad. He's 2 points to the bad, with Larson being 2 points to the good.
Right. It's a big week. This is a huge week for him. I mean, it's make or break.
It is.
Road courses, not his thing.
It's not.
And talking about Byron winning, I'm not going to coin this because obviously he's very early into his career. But this reminds me of what Kevin Harvick used to do. He closes races. I mean, look at Phoenix. Look at multiple races this year. Byron has been at the right place at the right time. I mean, he was a mid-pack car. He was running 10th and 20th at times. And, you saw him start to kind of make his way through the field and just put himself into the right place at the right time. And he said it in his interview. I don't know if you caught his post-race interview, but he said Larson deserved the win. 100%. Larson, had the car to beat along with Bubba Wallace. And Byron just is in the right place at the right time. I was kind of shocked because when I saw him there on the inside, I was like, okay, here we go. But this is the second week in a row that we've seen, no, not second week in a row. We saw it at Kansas. We saw it here this week where a driver was battling, for first and second. You have Briscoe and Wallace, and the third-place driver won the race. This is very reminiscent of what we saw between Hamlin and Logano and Tyler Reddick at Kansas. Same exact situation. except a few
It's
laps
not
apart.
over till it's over.
Exactly.
All right?
And you know, the smart move is to go down to the inside. So the question is, obviously, Talladega, I guess that can technically happen at Talladega, just a little bit different. Can't happen to the road course. But, you know, I wouldn't even want to be in first or second at the end of these races, because if you're battling side by side, you know, the driver on the inside is not going to give. The driver on the outside is not going to give. The car in third is going to have a heck of a run going out of a corner. And he made the right move and didn't just win. He, like, checked out, which goes to your point. I didn't really pay attention to what happened with Wallace afterwards. I was complete shocked that Byron was going to win the race.
Yeah.
But he did fade back, thinking about it now. I mean, pretty severely.
Oh, yeah. Like, it was I'm not sure where he actually ended up. I want to say he still got a top 5, but...
He got third. I think he finished in third, with Chastain in second.
Yeah, let's see here. Texas started first, finished third. So, yeah, you know, yeah, you know, Bubba Wallace even said in an interview, I choked, you know, and I mean, and it's one of those things. It's not over till it's over, all right? You keep racing, you keep fighting till you see the checkered flag, all right? It's like football, like my brother's football coaches tell him, don't stop till you hear the whistle.
Bingo, 100%.
All right?
Exactly.
Don't stop till you see a yellow or a checkered flag, all right? Or a green and checkered flag, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, looking, you know, but let's look. Do I have anything else? Not really. Looking into the future. Talladega, you said you just had something. You had a smirk on your face earlier. What did you have about Talladega?
So, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Hold up. I need to pull it back up. Where'd it go? Oh, hold on.
I think I might have a guess on what it is, and if it is what I think it is, I don't know if I'm gonna like it.
Okay, what do you think it is while I get this?
Are you going to Talladega?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I wish.
That's one of the races I've been on the bucket list. Although I was told that when we were this is when I was younger, the guy we were talking to said, "Don't bring your kids to the infield of Talladega until they're 18." At least. And so
Chad, you're gonna need a parental guardian when you go, if you ever go to Talladega.
Screw you, man! I'm 20. Screw you!
I know. I'm actually 24. So
you are?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, does that mean
2 years ago?
Wait, hold on. Does that mean in? Never mind. I was gonna say
do some math. What's up?
Okay. Does that mean in 24 coming years are you gonna be an Alex Bowman fan? If Alex Bowman is still in the Cup Series in 24 years?
Kidding me? No way. But it would be. How cool would this be? I'm 24. William Byron drives the 24. If he wins the championship when I'm 24, that's just really cool. It's just
you got to go to Phoenix.
You're like a weird, you know what I'm talking about? Oh, that's a good point. I do.
But if you go to Phoenix, you're not going to be able to go to the All-American 400.
William Byron winning a championship, going to watch a local short track race with some of the best, obviously. William Byron.
One of the biggest local short track events of the year, mind you.
I've been waiting for I haven't seen a 24 win a championship since I can't remember one.
I don't think I was alive last time. Jeff Gordon won a championship.
I don't remember it. Obviously, I was way too young. But
I don't know. I mean, hey, it might be a factor, but yeah. What was your news?
So I'm gonna only gonna show you these two drivers, and I'm gonna ask you what you think is happening this weekend at Talladega. Okay, I'm trying not to give anything away. This is.
I'm making room. I'm scooting back a bit because I don't want to happen what happened last time. I saw something absurd and I threw him. So if I'm going to throw him down this time. So let me see this.
So this is image number 1. Oh wait, hold on. There's a notification.
It's Ryan Preece
and Chase Briscoe. What are they doing?
Wait a minute. Talladega. That fist bump. Wait a minute. No way! No way!
It is coming alive. The 14 and the 41 are going to be
Oh
driving.
My God!
It's a one-off, complete one-off. So you got Chase Briscoe's number 14 Old Spice car is Cal Naughton, and you got, very ironically, who had a crazy flip this year, who they
I didn't even think about that.
Talked about it in the Wonder Bread number 41.
These guys gotta go all out. They gotta have the suits. They gotta have like their names. I don't want to see Briscoe and and Pierce
And
on
Pre-
the top of these cars.
Pre-
I
no,
want to
Ricky-
see.
Ricky Bobby and Cal Naughton. 100%.
I want to see Naughton and Bobby on the back of those things.
Imagine you think about what happens when these guys go out front. If they ever are out front in this race, you know this is going to be probably one of the coolest races for sound bites. They're going to use shake and bake. They're going to use everything. They're going to use everything.
I remember when Kurt Busch was racing, and whatever team he was racing for them were struggling to get sponsors, and they had a race at Talladega. And so what they did was they put the Cougar and the ME on the car.
Yep.
And I remember when he took I remember watching replays when he took the lead. The announcer was like, "I've been waiting all days to say this to the lead or Ricky Bobby." And the crowd went crazy. So yeah, that is I thought you were going to show me like two drivers that should be nowhere near the Cup Series yet.
Oh no. This was
When did that come out?
Today.
Like
that came out. I don't know what Twitter. It was within the last few hours that it came out. So another cool thing I got to find. This is my last time at Talladega. Let's see if I can pull it up. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to.
While you're doing that, let's look at Talladega predictions. I mean, it's hard to do a prediction there because it's a toss up.
It is.
I don't know what's gonna happen. But let's look at the playoffs here. Honestly, man, I feel like the only chance that both Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace. I mean, this is kind of Ryan Blaney might have a chance at. This has been very much a Ryan Blaney favored round. You know, you got Texas, you got Talladega, and you got the Roval, all right?
Bingo. I mean, Talladega, he's been fantastic on. I've seen him win twice. When I've gone to Talladega, he's won twice. So he's obviously a factor. He's 11 to the bad, and right now he's 11 points out of that cutoff line. He needs a good finish, but also think about Wallace. Think about Reddick. The last time I went to Talladega, you know who won? Kyle Busch. I mean, and that was this past spring. So, I mean, you have 4 drivers in or on the bubble that can win at Talladega. That's the thing. You know, I mean, with Bubba winning there, Blaney and Busch. I don't even know.
Yeah,
I don't even know where to start.
And then also, Keselowski being where he's at.
Absolutely.
He's a chance. So, we got a lot of drivers who are close to this bubble, but even looking up higher on the grid, Denny Hamlin, yes, we've seen more of it at Daytona than Talladega, but he's a force to be reckoned with. Ross Chastain's a factor there too, all right?
Busher. Talk about Busher at Super Speedways.
Busher at Super Speedways is one of the names that are up there, all right? So it's all of these guys have a good chance. I feel like Kyle Busch, if he has some consistent finishes, he'll be all right. Right. If he has a bad weekend this weekend, he's going to be in a must-win situation going into Charlotte.
Which I wouldn't pick him to win at the Roval.
I wouldn't either.
I would look at a Blaney.
Then again, Kyle Busch has done things that Kyle Busch has shocked everyone at times.
Good point. So, I mean, if we did have to give Talladega predictions, I'll put you on the spot first. If you had to give one driver, with everything we know going into the playoffs, going into the fifth race, second race of the round of 12, who is your pick to win at Talladega?
Playoff only driver?
Sure. Let's do playoff only. Let's do non-playoff only. Or non-playoff.
Let's just do playoffs. Out of these guys, I'm going to say this. Bubba Wallace knows how to run up front. Ryan Blaney knows how to seal the deal.
I was leaning the same way. I was thinking Ryan Blaney because this past week he didn't have a winning car. He had a top 5 car, but I think he's going to be under so much pressure at Talladega that he's going to need a win. Now, another name that we need to pay attention to, Christopher Bell. He qualifies very well at super speedways. He doesn't get the job done, but he qualifies very well. He's sitting 4th in points, 20 to the good right now. My still pick, though, I would still say Ryan Blaney because he's proven the win. I've watched him win multiple times, and he needs a win.
But one race Christopher Bell got it done last year was at the Roval.
Exactly. So
all right?
It's a toss-up.
This is very much a toss-up. We are in such a wild card race here at Talladega. And then, because anything can happen at Talladega.
Literally
Anything can happen at Talladega. Then you go into the Roval, which we have some names that kind of stick out, all right? Byron, yes, but he's already into the next round, all right? Chastain, yes. Reddick, yes. Blaney, yes, all right? People who have win and shown what they've got. And then we have Kyle Busch, who every time people count Kyle Busch out, he shows them why you shouldn't.
Yes, he will.
All right? Leaves RCR. Or leaves JGR, everyone thinks he's going to RCR, he's going to an underperforming team, all right, wins the second race of the year, all right, we don't hear much from him, goes out, wins Talladega, all right, we're in that same part of the roller coaster, we're on the down part with Kyle Busch, all right, we might see a Kyle Busch comeback. I wouldn't be surprised if we did.
I wouldn't either, because he won in the spring. I watched him win in the spring, which I was not a huge Kyle Busch fan at the time, but when I watched him win, I was like, okay, this dude knows what he's doing. He's very well.
This is the same Kyle Busch we are seeing.
Bingo.
All right?
Bingo.
Everyone thought we were going to see a completely different Kyle Busch when he went to RCR. We are seeing the exact same Kyle Busch, putting up the exact same numbers, and he has had more success this year with an underperforming team than he had last year with a championship caliber team.
Exactly.
So that is really interesting to look at. I don't know if I would put him in as a win, but I'm not going to count him out. Ryan Blaney, I said his name last week. I'm going to say his name again this week. I'm putting him in. If I don't know, maybe who knows? This also might be the day that Bubba Wallace seals the deal on the super speedway.
And wins it without rain. But I got to make that point. Not trying to joke, but seriously.
No, I understand. But everything becomes a factor into the playoffs, all right? Who's strong at this track? Who's strong at this track, all right? And then you get the weather involved. All right, who's going to be out front? Now, if we go to Martinsville and it starts to rain, that's not going to matter, now that we have the wet weather tire.
Bingo. That is a good point. Oh,
all right.
That'd be crazy.
Yes.
Cutoff race.
A cutoff race in the rain.
At Martinsville.
Oh, my God. I'd pay to see that. That's
100%.
If that's the case, I would go to see that one.
It's only Virginia, isn't it?
Yeah, only Virginia for you.
Oh, that's right. You're way up there.
I'm in Ohio, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Talladega, it is hard to say. Blaney is my best bet out of those guys. Keselowski maybe, Chastain maybe. Truex, he has his moments. Christopher Bell is good in the qualifying run. Denny Hamlin, he's good at these. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised even if he doesn't win, he will get locked in on, if he finishes and has a good finish, he'll probably get locked in on points to the next round.
Sure. He can't wreck though. That's what's going to kind of derail this whole thing, anything at Talladega can happen. Could it be where we see Denny Hamlin trying?
This is why I want
Bubba
Talladega
Wallace?
to be a cutoff race.
Just imagine.
I'm telling you right now. Sorry. All right. I'm telling you, this is what I want. Swap Kansas and Bristol in the first round. Swap Talladega and Charlotte in the second round. Keep Martinsville where it's at in the last round.
Absolutely.
All right. Have an intermediate. Have an exciting intermediate track at least to end round one. Have the biggest, baddest track on the NASCAR schedule in round two. Have the smallest track on the NASCAR schedule to end round three. And then for the championship round, it is an interesting track, but the one thing I don't like about Phoenix is that if you have a setup figured out for that track, it's pretty easy to walk away with it. We saw it last year. We saw it last year with Joey Logano. We saw it in many years past with Kevin Harvick. I remember those Kevin Harvick days every time. He was all anyone could talk about whenever they went out to Phoenix.
9 wins. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, what are you thinking for next week? Who's your prediction?
To make it into the next round, or
to win and make it into the next round?
To win this weekend.
Weekend.
I'm going Blaney. Now, going purely off of their paint schemes. Imagine. Wait, what?
I don't know if we should both go for Blaney because we both went for Blaney last week and we saw what happened there.
I'm gonna go for Blaney again.
I'm gonna
stick by my word.
If it happens again, I'll turn it into a superstition. But
100%. Where we can't pick the same driver. Or do some like reverse psychology where like we just don't want Ross Chastain in the next round, so we both pick Ross Chastain. He does bad. I don't know. Anyways,
we'll figure something out.
If I had to pick a non-playoff driver, just imagine how crazy it would be if Ryan Preece or Chase Briscoe won this race. Just
that would be
just for the TV. And let's talk about this. They're producing a YouTube series, or not a Netflix series off of this. Just imagine the kind of production they could do if every
college frat guy who knows nothing about NASCAR, who goes to these races with nothing but a Ricky Bobby shirt on, will be losing their minds.
Speaking of that, this is what I saw the last time I was at Talladega.
I can't. Oh my! Is that someone dressed as Ricky Bobby?
And Cal Naughton, and they have the spotter, and Jean Girard.
I forgot his name. Jean Girard.
The whole thing, man. They were all out there.
Why don't they have someone as Jean Girard? All right, that would. Well, I guess that's a sponsor. I guess they got lucky with those sponsorship stuff. But
Ricky Bobby,
yeah,
I've come to beat you, Ricky Bobby. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know how they could get that spot. I guess it's only Perrier. I don't know. I don't know who's ahead of marketing at Perrier, but I think it's Perrier, right?
I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. I'm not going to be happy until I see Fig Newtons all over the windshield.
They got it. This is such a good PR stunt. Not stunt, but a good PR opportunity for these guys, especially Ryan Preece.
You know, at the start of the race, where to make sure the car doesn't get too hot, they put those blankets down on top of the windshield.
It has to be.
They have to.
They're missing out on. I mean, it's
the only if that happens, the only thing that'll make it better is if Will Ferrell and the other guy, I forget his name.
I don't know his name either.
You don't know that they're in so many movies together, but everyone always remembers Will Ferrell, and I feel so bad.
What's his name? John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly. I don't know why I thought it was Rick something, but John C. Reilly. The only thing that would make it better if those guys showed up.
Oh, just imagine. That would be so. Imagine, okay, thinking, this is just, we're just talking, out of our ass now. Imagine if they got,
we're not even focused on NASCAR anymore. No. We're just looking at the fantasy that this is.
They have to get Will Ferrell in the 26 and Cal Naughton in the Old Spice car, the cars they ran during the movie. They've got to be somewhere. I mean, I know one of them's in the museum at the International Motorsports Hall of Fame.
That's at Talladega. Okay.
Yes, that's at Talladega. I don't know where the Old Spice car is. But just imagine if they could get those on the track. How cool would that be?
Like in between the leaders and the pace car?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That'd be cool.
Don't know if they're going to do
it. I'm going to try and see if I can find the pre-race, the driver announcements and see if they actually introduce them.
Oh my God, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool. And what if even like the wives I don't know what the relationship status of those guys are, but what if like everyone played into it? That'd be amazing.
Is Ryan Preece married? Does he have a wife?
I know Briscoe is married.
Ryan Preece, a renowned American professional stock car racing driver, thanks Google, tied the knot with Heather Desrochers in 2017. Don't know who this is. Heather Desrochers? She could play his wife.
Taking a look at her.
I mean, his wife had blonde hair, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like I'm rich, fake blonde hair. Then again, it was the movie.
I don't know if she would really want to do that. But they gotta get everything involved in this.
The priest at the start of the race has to go, "Dear 6 pounds, 8 ounce, baby Jesus." They have to do that.
Oh my gosh,
they have to.
Let's just hope that the end of the race doesn't end up like what actually happened.
What actually happened?
Because Ryan Preece
Ryan Preece will be used to it.
He'll be like, oh yeah, this is typical. He'll run across the finish line.
He'll be like, "Oh, here we go again."
Yeah,
I think that's kind of all we got. Playoffs. It's hard to say anything predicted for the playoffs because
it's Talladega.
It's Talladega.
I don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, if I had to give my first 4 out, I mean, I kind of predicted this at the beginning of the round, though. It was going to be Wallace. It was going to be Busch. Remember when I said Busch was going to be out? I think that's right now. I mean, he had a terrible week.
He did.
It's hard to even say. I mean, obviously, Byron's in a good spot. Hamlin's in a good spot. But everybody else, if they have a bad day, they're done. I mean, it's I don't even know. Do you want to predict the next?
If Reddick or Wallace or Busch have a bad day, they are going to be and
they're done.
They are pretty close to being done.
Yeah.
Especially the 2311 guys. Busch, the only reason I'm not counting him out is because of what I said earlier. Busch does what Busch does and makes something out of nothing.
Right.
He's able to do it. Looking outside of the bubble, I feel like if Brad Keselowski can make it happen this week, or not, will make it happen, have a good finish this week, he'll be all right. Chris Buescher and Denny Hamlin, they just need a good finish, a good week, and they're pretty solid going into the Roval. Bell, I mean, he's plus 20. He's not the best, but he's not the worst. Truex, we might see something come out of him at the Roval, but I would not be surprised if we see a massive shakeup in the playoffs come the end of Talladega.
I agree. That's why I'm kind of like, I don't even know if I want to make a prediction. I mean, because it's my pick to win is Ryan Blaney, but it's such a toss-up. You can't even really make strong predictions because any of these guys can win. I mean, Byron can come out and win. Larson can come out and win.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody. All 36, 40 guys can win this week at the good old Dega down there. So, other than that, Chad, I think that wraps up episode number 8. I don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah,
we have our picks for the race.
Yeah, I'm taking one final look around. Don't really see anything when it comes to updates. While we were talking, obviously the big news, with Rackley War, and then with this other stuff. I mean, the reason I made a big deal out of it is because hey, it's a hometown. I see these guys every week. I see these guys every weekend racing. So but yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. If you want your local short track shouted out, make sure you DM us on any of our social media platforms or email flagtoflag10@gmail.com.
There we go. So hope you all are having a good week. We're going to get this out on a Monday, Chad. I'm going to get this out today.
Oh, we're getting this out today.
Getting it out today. So this is going to be we're getting on this.
It's going to be a bit late, but all right.
I mean, unless you think we want to go out tomorrow morning.
I mean, let's see what happens if we put it out today,
Put it out today. We'll put out a video. I'll create a video after the holiday when it's up. But yeah, that wraps up episode number 8 of the Flag to Flag podcast. Like Chad said, email us at flagtoflag10 with any topics, any local races, and the local race report. If you want your short track featured, follow us on all of our social media channels. It is flag_podcast on Instagram and on Facebook, TikTok, and I always do this. What's the last platform?
Twitter.
YouTube
and X.
Oh, and X, yes. It is Flag to Flag at Flag to Flag podcast. So we've reached a checkered flag here.
We're going to start posting polls on X as well.
We are. We do need to start that. We'll talk about that too. But from John and Chad, we will see you guys next week.
See you.